All right. Hey, everybody. This is Stephen Burslem with Junior Achievement of North Florida, here with another interview for our JA Career Speaker Series. Pretty much what we're doing is just hearing people's stories, how they've been adapting with their job, with their life as a whole, as we are going through COVID-19 and transitioning to a lot of online lifestyles. So here I have Jeanne Higgins with me. So Jeanne, thank you so much for joining me today.
Stephen, glad to be here.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
So feel free, go ahead, introduce yourself, like personal information, whatever you want to share with us.
Okay. My name is Jeanne Higgins. I'm a Anglican clergy. I work for the Church of the Redeemer here it's in Jacksonville, Florida. Church of about 200 people on a given Sunday, back when we actually met. And I'm married. I've been married for 31 years, and I have 3 sons. They're all grown now, all adults, which is kind of weird. But native Floridian, grew up in Sarasota. And yeah, I also do some work with as a chaplain with community hospice.
Okay, wonderful. That's awesome to hear. And once again, thank you so much for being willing to be interviewed and just kind of share a little bit of your job story. But the very kind of like first question I have for you is like entering into that perspective as a high schooler. What were you thinking when you first were in high school? Were you thinking that you wanted to go to college right away? Did you want to enter in the workforce? Tell us about your perspective.
So I grew up in a family where it was assumed that I would go to college.
Okay.
So I knew from the time I was a little girl that I would go to college. And I did. I went to college right after high school. Graduated in 4 years.
All right.
And yeah, I was a political science major.
Oh, okay.
As
an
undergrad.
College?
I went to Agnes Scott College just outside of Atlanta. It's in
yeah, absolutely.
The women's college.
Okay. Awesome.
So small women's college, liberal arts, wonderful experience. Met my husband in college, not on campus, obviously.
Okay.
But went to college in Atlanta as well.
Okay, wonderful. Now, remind me, what did you say your major was?
Political science.
Okay, so political science. What made you choose political science?
I was really interested in politics, in American government, in the idea of government in general, and how the how cultures and nations over time have been governed, and that kind of thing. So it was just interesting to me. I liked kind of the intersection with economics and history.
Okay, that's really cool to hear. So would you say being a political science major is in line with what you're doing now?
So no, I wasn't a Christian in college.
Okay.
So certainly was not thinking about becoming a clergy member at that point.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it helps me in what I do now, and thinking about, particularly with COVID-19, and helping people to, sift through the lot of information, differing information that's out there, and how the government reacts and things like that. So I think it's helpful, but it's certainly not directly in line with what I thought I would be doing. I actually thought I would go be a professor.
Oh, okay. Now, did you, throughout your working career, did you have anything that was directly in line with political science, or no?
Nope. I went to graduate school right after undergrad and just hated it and dropped out and just got a job.
Okay. Really interesting. So interesting. Okay. So tell us a little bit more about like your job specifically now, like how you got into it, what has spurred you to join the church?
So I became a Christian in the mid-90s and joined a church then. and I'm still there. So it's been 25 years since I've been there. Over time, just started growing in responsibility. I went on staff in 2003 and was on staff through 2010. During that time, I felt a call to go to seminary. So, so graduate school for people that are in churches or in study religious things.
Right.
And graduated in 2010, and then went on to work for the seminary for 9 years.
Wow. Okay.
Until last year when budget reasons I got laid off. But it corresponded within a couple of months with being ordained. I was ordained last 2 months later. I mean, I was already in that process, but
got it.
so
Okay.
it worked out really well. And now I'm working part-time for the church, and I do some work with community hospice as a chaplain.
That's wonderful. So could you also provide some context before social distancing? What did your job really look like?
So before social distancing, very hands-on. I'm pastoral care. So it might include going to visit a parishioner that's in the hospital, praying for them, going to people's homes who are sick. On Sundays, we did church with people there. We had Sunday school that we did for adults, which I'm involved with, and then things like on Wednesday night for people. So very hands-on, very lots of people all week, meeting with parishioners at Starbucks, and then my chaplain work is all hands-on, or was all hands-on. You know, going into patients' rooms, talking to patients, talking to their families, hospice deals with people who are dying. So it's it's kind of an intimate kind of thing. So so my work week started on Sunday with kind of a busy church services. I preach, I read scripture, I do prayers, I lead various things, and then you know, staff meetings and various meetings with people all week, Wednesday night, and then chaplain work, usually 1 or 2 days a week.
Wow, so pretty busy.
Pretty busy. Fridays I take off as a Sabbath. So.
Okay. So you were like traveling a lot, just interacting with a lot of various people, very, as you said, very hands-on.
Very hands-on.
Okay,
yes.
So now in the context of COVID-19 and social distancing, how has your job changed, but also even what are some similarities?
So the overall job has not changed. It's just in how we're doing it. So we're still doing church. We're still having Wednesday night programs. We're still leading small groups. We're still meeting with people, but we're not doing it in person. So a lot of the activities are the same, but we're doing them in an entirely new platform we've never used before. So there's been a pretty steep learning curve over the last few weeks. We'd never done an online service, and now we do them every week.
All the time.
All the time, right? We've never had a congregational meeting via Zoom, and now we do it all the time. It's been pretty, I think that, well, it's kind of turned the world up. I had a lot of opportunities for the to go places we wouldn't have gone before.
Yeah.
Punching our services on Sunday, and we normally have under 200 on Sunday. So there's all these people watching it that don't normally watch. Right. We had a handful of people in small group communities where, you know, we now have like 80% of our adults and all of our youth in small groups. So we've made just remarkable changes very quickly. I've been real pleased on how it's been worked out. It's been time consuming and a little bit exhausting, you know. But I think that it's been good, and I think we'll have to make some decisions when we get back to, I'm not sure that normal is ever going to happen again, but whatever the new normal is, you know, what are the things that we're doing now that are better or could be added, or I don't think we'll drop the things we're doing now, because I think they've worked really well.
It seems like your congregation has, for the most part, sounds like a pretty positive response in wanting to still be part of the church, to learn as much as possible still, even though you aren't together.
Right.
Technology has really aided to y'all.
Absolutely. And something like Zoom, where you can interact, you know, I mean, you're not embodied, but I see you, you're out there. Particularly our older folks, who are maybe not as technologically adept as our younger folks. The learning curve was pretty steep, but they were the ones who most wanted the community, because they were often isolated at home because they're in a vulnerable community. They're vulnerable because of their age or their health issues. And we've gotten, I think at this point, we've gotten everybody online somehow. You know, it might be their phone, or you know, they're calling in, or but you know, we had a meeting last week where a Zoom meeting where they were running from toddlers to 102.
Wow.
102.
Oh my goodness.
Pretty impressive.
That really is.
We've had our younger people have really stepped up and helped our older people get online, and they've done it over the phone, you know, doing things like turning the phone around and saying, okay, let me look at your screen, you know, getting on FaceTime. And it's been remarkable how we've had people who said, you know, somebody who's 102, I mean, you know, she was born before, you know, at the time of the Spanish pandemic, right?
Yeah.
The Spanish flu. So, you know, she barely has I don't think she has a cell phone. So,
right. Wow, that's so fascinating. I think this really compares in well with like the final set of questions is, what have you observed specifically that has been positive, and kind of even really hope that like this can become a new normal for us?
So I think the intergenerational connections that have been formed are positive, and I certainly would hope that they would continue. The sense of community, and the sense of the importance of checking in on one another, and seeing what people need. You know, a number of our elderly people can't go out, so they need somebody to do their grocery shopping. And well, you could have food delivered. You know, there's a cost to that. So having somebody else go do it for you and then dropping it at your doorstep has been helpful. But just little things like that, where we're seeing connections and people checking in, phone calls and email and text and Zoom and whatever they're using. But our youth ministry, our high schools, middle schoolers have the opportunity to meet. I think, I want to say it's every day at 3:30. Wow. I could be wrong. It might be 4 days a week, but they don't have to do it, but they have the opportunity to do, and it's themed. So it's like Fitness Friday, and they focus on exercise, and
that's cool.
Movie Monday, and they watch a movie online, you know, all together. So that kind of thing. So I think that we've seen the desire to connect, and maybe just the time that you're not as busy with other things. We're starting a study on Wednesday nights on well, you never want to call it a rule of life, because nobody likes the word rule, but you know, structuring your life in such a way that you become a better a better person, a better Christian, a better um, uh, a better citizen, all of those things. So um,
Yeah.
it's kind of a reset button for a lot of people.
And I completely agree in the sense it's really exposing what in our lives is a priority, and then obviously what's not a priority, and really focusing on like, all right, we totally have an opportunity to reset and really focus in on what's so valuable to us. And so my final question for Eugene is just, obviously these are kind of volatile times. Like job security is not really at an all-time high, of course. So to these high school students who are kind of wondering what's next for them, why do you say is it so important to really focus on like financial security or just preparing financially in any way possible?
Well, um, having financial security is important. We didn't. This came on so suddenly. I mean, it was like one day. I know our pastor one day was at the Players Championships of golf match, and the next day it was canceled. He
Right.
was there on Thursday, and Friday it was canceled. Right. So it just happened very suddenly, and so I think there's a lot of people it's not like we had a 6-month notice, oh, you should be saving your money and that kind of thing. So the importance of stewardship, of stewarding your time, your money, your talents, all the things that you would need to, that those are all really important. And it's a matter of being intentional about thinking through what is required, both from a financial budget standpoint, but also from a time standpoint.
Yeah, that's important.
What's required and what's discretionary.
Yeah.
And knowing those and being, honest about where we're spending time and money that that might be better spent elsewhere. Is important. And I think as we go forward, I hope that people will have will be doing a better job of that, so that they do have, some reserves, both, personally, but I think, businesses need to be thinking about that, and churches need to be thinking about that, and families, teenagers, I mean, everybody. I have 3 sons. 2 of them are working, and it hasn't been a problem. But the third one is not working. He doesn't have a job right now. And, I don't know when he'll be able to get a job. It's not like he can immediately, there's not like there's lots of jobs out there right now, or that even if there was, that he could go do them. And so I think that he was ill prepared for not having things going the way that he expected them to. So I think understanding that nothing in life is guaranteed, is important as we think about stewardship and about making sure that we have the resources to deal with the difficult times.
Yeah, I mean, it's really well said. Is like you stated, we really do not know what tomorrow holds. Honestly, I feel like we're all learning things hour by hour. What's going to happen next? Social distancing, we honestly have no idea. And so it's really important for us to prepare, even when we don't think it's necessary, is for situations like these. We're like, okay, I am glad that I went ahead and saved a little bit more. I mean, it really is a powerful statement that you were talking about. So overall, just thank you so much, Jeanne, for just sharing about your job and how you entered into it, and really the importance of prioritizing not even just money, but your time. I think that's really important for all of us, whether we are in high school or we are older. And it's important to really know, and we are able to reset at this time. It's important to figure out, what do we need to focus on? So once again, thank you so much for sharing a little bit more of your job story with us.